What if the calendar you live by is completely out of sync with God's original design? And what if that disconnect is the reason life feels off rhythm, even your faith? You've read Genesis. You've heard of the 10 Commandments. But there's a missing piece most believers have never seen, a sacred blueprint buried in an ancient text called the Book of Jubilees. This isn't just a dusty scroll or some historical side note. This is a bold, divine retelling of the Genesis story, with God's original calendar at the center. A calendar that doesn't just mark days, but directs destinies. In this video, we're diving into the Book of Jubilees, a long-forgotten ancient text that reveals God's cosmic calendar, angelic timekeepers, and a sacred rhythm to life we were never meant to lose. Hit subscribe if you want more deep biblical truths brought to life every week. We've got so much more coming here on The Word. Stay with me until the end of this one, because we're going to explore how this forgotten divine timekeeper, the very rhythm of heaven, could be the key to escaping modern chaos, finding spiritual clarity, and rediscovering your true place in God's order. Let's talk straight. Have you ever felt like your life is stuck in the wrong rhythm? Like no matter how hard you try to stay on track spiritually, something feels off. Well, what if it's not just you? What if the entire calendar we live by is out of alignment with God's original design? According to the Book of Jubilees, it is. In the modern world, our lives are scheduled to the minute. We measure our days by digital clocks, fiscal quarters, and national holidays. But in the Book of Jubilees, time is more than a measurement. It is a covenant. Known by scholars as Little Genesis, this ancient text, still preserved in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, claims something radical, that from the moment of creation, God established a divine rhythm for humanity to live by. A 364-day solar calendar, divided with mathematical precision into seasons, weeks, and sacred feasts. Not arbitrary, not cultural, not convenience, but ordained, sacred, cosmic. In this calendar, every 7th day is holy. Every 50th year, called a Jubilee, is a time of release, restoration, and renewal. Debts are forgiven. Land is returned. Prisoners go free. It's a reset, not just for individuals, but for entire societies. According to Jubilees, this is how life was meant to be lived. But here's where it gets eerie. The text warns that as humanity fell away from God's law, we also abandoned his calendar. Instead of living by the sun, the light God called good, people began using the lunar calendar based on shadows and cycles that drift, causing holy days to fall out of alignment. The result? Confusion, corruption, disobedience, and a world spiraling out of sync, not just with the heavens, but with its creator. Now you may be wondering, how does an ancient calendar apply to me? Let me ask you this. Why do so many people feel spiritually exhausted? Why does life feel like it's accelerating but not progressing? The Book of Jubilees suggests the problem runs deeper than stress, technology, or even sin. It points to something foundational. We've lost our rhythm with God. You see, the biblical calendar wasn't designed to constrain life. It was given to harmonize it. Every season of your life, whether it's planting, harvesting, resting, or releasing, was supposed to follow a rhythm that kept you connected to heaven's clock. When that rhythm is broken, so is the blessing. Is it any surprise that anxiety is rising while rest feels impossible? That families crumble while debt piles up? That we're moving faster, but growing more lost? We've been trying to live by a man-made rhythm, while God's rhythm, laid out in the Book of Jubilees, has been quietly collecting dust for centuries. Let's rewind time. Here's something few Christians are taught. In the Book of Jubilees, angels were created on the very first day, not later, not after man, but immediately. And their very first assignment, to govern time. That's right, angels were divine timekeepers, assigned by God to oversee the days, weeks, months, and jubilees of his sacred order. These weren't ornamental beings in white robes. They were administrators of heaven's rhythm, stewards of divine timing. Every sunrise, every new season, Every feast and Sabbath was monitored and protected by celestial beings, ensuring humanity stayed in alignment with God's will. Think about that. Your time isn't just yours. It belongs to a larger cosmic choreography, a sacred symphony where the angels are the conductors and we are meant to be in tune. When we abandon God's calendar, we're not just missing appointments. We're going off beat from the entire orchestra of creation. This isn't a fringe idea. Scripture is filled with warnings about going off schedule. In Daniel 7:25, it's prophesied that an enemy will arise who seeks to change the set times and the laws. In other words, alter God's rhythm to deceive and oppress his people. Jesus himself observed the appointed feasts on time, in season, in step with divine timing. And yet today, we often replace these sacred rhythms with worldly ones, Christmas sales instead of Passover, busy schedules instead of Sabbaths. The book of Jubilees begs us to pause, to ask not, what time is it? But, whose time am I living by? Because when you're on God's calendar, you're in covenant. Outside of it, you're out of alignment, vulnerable to deception, distraction, and distortion. Here's the heart of it. How do we reclaim a divine tempo in a world gone frantic? Just as a musician tunes his instrument before the symphony begins, God is calling us to retune our hearts, to restore the Sabbath, not as a rule but as a refuge, to honor the appointed times, not out of obligation, but to recognize they were made for us. And most importantly, to recognize that our lives are not random. They move in cycles. They respond to seasons. God's timing isn't just good, it's essential. The question is, will we follow it? If this is opening your eyes, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to spread the word. So maybe you're feeling like your life has been spiraling, or that something feels spiritually off, but you can't quite name it. What if the answer isn't found in doing more, but in realigning with God's time? The book of Jubilees may not be in every Bible, but its message beats like a pulse through Scripture. Time is sacred, order is holy, and God hasn't stopped keeping track. The rhythm is still playing, and heaven is waiting for you to dance in sync with it once again. So maybe today's not just another Monday. Maybe it's a chance to realign, to pause, to breathe, to honor sacred time again, and to remember you're not lost. You're just out of rhythm, but the beat is still there. God's original calendar never disappeared. It's just been waiting for you to look up. Watch the next video to discover the lost hidden miracles of the Maccabees, an inspiring, powerful story you won't want to miss. Stay blessed.